Good morning, namaskar, suprabhat, sat sri akal, vadakkam, kem cho. I welcome you all in our today's session of income tax. I am C. Ankit Sharma, your income tax faculty for the session. So, good morning, everyone, and I believe you must be studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So, in the last session, we have completed our chapter 1 provision, the basic concept topic, in which we have gone through with the provision of introduction of income tax, definitions, some basic concept, some exceptions, then rates of taxes in case of different kind of persons, then surcharge provision, rebate provision, marginally. And at the end, we have completed our agricultural income provision. Now, today we will be discussing chapter number 2, that is regarding the residential status. Let me tell you, it is the one of the most important topic of Income Tax Act. The first thing to find out whether you are a individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, as we have gone through in chapter number 1. The second step for calculation of tax liability of any person is the residential status. Because your residential status is going to impact the taxability of your income in a very strong way. So, to identify that someone is resident in India, non-resident in India, resident and ordinary resident, resident and not ordinary resident, we need to know before the taxability, because that is going to impact the taxability a lot. How it impact your tax liability, that we'll be discussing in this chapter in the topic of incidence of tax. So this chapter is divided into two parts. Part 1 is to find out the residential status of a person, and the second is incidence of tax. So under incidence of tax, you will come to know why we are finding out residential status, how it's going to impact my tax liability. So before that, we will discuss the provision of residential status, and then after we will discuss the incidence of tax, in which we will see how that's going to impact the tax liability of a person. Very interesting topic. A lot of new things you are going to understand in this topic. So I believe you all are ready to get set and go. So before that, as usual, we are going to share a thought for the day. So today thought for the day is dream big. That's what you already have done, that you are dreaming to be a chartered accountant. So your dream is automatically big. Stay positive. That is very, very, very important. As I have discussed the story of Thomas Edison in the last class. So you can see the positivity, being positive is definitely a very, very important thing in this journey. So please be positive. Do not think that you cannot do this thing. If somebody is going to tell you that you are not able to complete this course, stay away from these kind of persons. So be positive all the time. Even if you have left with not long time for preparation due to any reason, but still believe in yourself, you can still do it. Time is still there to complete your course, to revise everything. So please be positive all the time. Work hard. Of course, this is a journey of being CA, and work hard. It's the only way you can complete your course. And the last but not the least, enjoy the journey. This time will not come back. So when you will be a chartered accountant, you will remember this time duration, the hard work you put in, the result you enjoyed. So please enjoy the journey, because zindagi na milegi dobara sort of thing. So that was thought for the day. Now moving on to the provision. Before that, okay, good morning, Lakshmi, good morning, Meenakshi, good morning, Akila, good morning, Ketan. So before starting the topic of how to find out the residential status of a person, there are two terms we need to discuss before that. Good morning, Mithali. And what are these two terms? First is the meaning of citizen of India. So a very important point in this chapter is citizenship. How do we find out whether you are a citizen of India or not? Even when the chapter is regarding the residential status, not for citizenship, but this citizenship concept is going to be discussed multiple times in our this chapter. So because we do not want to be stop at that time, so that's why we are going to discuss these two things before starting my topic, and that is citizenship of India. So whenever you fill a form and there is generally a column which asks you whether you are a citizen of India or not, and we generally put right tick in the yes column. Yes, we are citizen of India. So citizenship generally decided from the permanent address. Why you are a citizen of India? Because your permanent residential address or your permanent address is India. So if your permanent address of residence is in India, you will be called citizen of India. But suppose a client comes to me, he is having 2 or 3 houses in different countries, and I ask him, and I want to know whether he's citizen of India or not. So how do we will recognize someone whether he or she is a citizen of India or not? So the document is passport. You can ask for their passport. In the passport, there would be a column in which country need to be written. And if the country has been there mentioned India, I will assume that he or she is a citizen of India. So passport is the document. With the help of that document, you would be able to find out the citizenship of any person. Now I know you must be thinking, you all must be thinking, what if somebody does not have any passport? I believe that a lot of you do not have passport still now. So if the passport is the main document to find out whether you are a citizen of India or not, in that situation, if somebody does not have a passport, then how we will find out whether he or she is a citizen of India or not? That must be a question in your mind. So let me tell you, if you do not have any passport, apply this condition upon yourself. If you have a passport, go and check the country name over there. If that is India, you are a resident or you are a citizen of India. But if you do not have a passport, that means you are not legally went outside India ever. Clear? Because you do not have a passport, so you cannot go outside India ever. So in that situation, if you never went outside India, so where is your automatically permanent address of residence? So if you did not went outside India, that means if you did not go outside India, that means you are permanently residing in India. So automatically you will be a citizen of India. Understood? So of course, in this chapter, citizenship we are not going to discuss because the main concept is residential status. But this term is going to be used multiple times. So I have cleared you what is the meaning of citizenship of India. Now, a second word, which is again going to impact my residential status, is person of Indian origin. In short, we call it POIO, person of Indian origin. Okay. Santosh Kumar Das, sir, currently I have visa approval to Sri Lanka for travel or sightseeing purpose. Congratulations, very good. So, person of Indian origin, or in short, we call it POIO. So, this is also a very new term in this chapter. So, if we need to know whether Mr. A is a person of Indian origin or not, in that situation, we have to find out this condition. The condition says you have to find out whether Mr. A or their parents or their grandparents, if any of them, Mr. A, any of their parents or any of grandparents, if any one of them, any one or more is born in undivided India before the partition of India and Pakistan. So if any one of this has taken birth in undivided India, any one or more has taken birth in undivided India, in that case, Mr. A will become person of Indian origin. So if the answer of this point is yes, then Mr. A will be regarded as person of Indian origin. And if the answer is no, then he will not be a person of Indian origin. So you can apply this condition upon yourself again. So if your birth has been taken before 1947, you will be a person of Indian origin. That I believe not possible. If not you, but if any of your parents or grandparents has been born in undivided India, then also you will be treated as person of Indian origin. And in case of grandparents, we are talking about both maternal, mother side maternal and father side paternal. So technically we are talking about 7 people. Mr. is 1, parents that means 2 and 3, grandparents 4 and 5, maternal and paternal is 6 and 7. So technically we are saying if out of these 7 person, anyone has taken birth before undivided India, before 1947, before the partition of India, in that case, you will be treated as person of Indian origin. Clear? So these two words was important. These are going to impact our provision. That's why we have discussed these words initially. So the provisions from notes we are going to discuss. Change is a nature of life, but challenge is the aim of life. So your challenge is to become a chartered accountant. So residential status provision, we do need to know whether you are a resident and non-resident, and there is also certain sub-classification in it. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, as you can see, the total income of each person is taxed on the basis of his residential status. So the taxability is due to the residential status. That is very important. A person nationality has no effect on his residential status. So your nationality does not impact your residential status. These are different things. It means a citizen of India can be a non-resident and a citizen of UK can be a resident. So a citizen of India may be not a resident, or that person could be a non-resident, or a citizen of UK can be resident. So technically citizenship and residential status are different. If certain condition of becoming a resident has been satisfied, then you will be treated as resident, otherwise non-resident. Under the Income Tax Act, individual and HUF can be ordinary resident, not ordinary resident, or a non-resident. So technically, individual and HUF is having sub-classification also. But other person either could be resident or non-resident. So we will go through with all the concept one by one. This is just the starting, which is just giving you a introduction of this chapter. The definition of person of Indian origin, you can see that person of Indian origin means any individual who himself or his parents or his grandparents born in undivided India, whether maternal or paternal. So this is the overview of our chapter, residence and scope of total income. So in the residential status part, we will find out whether you are a resident or not, and what or how it's going to impact your taxability. That is going to be discussed in scope of total income that we will go through later. So the first part, that is to find out the residential status of a person. One by one, we are going to discuss it. So in chapter number 1, we have discussed that there are different kind of person exist. In case of, like, there was individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP, etc. So we have gone through with the different kind of rates also in respect of these person, and now we will discuss the residential status of these different kind of person one by one. So if we'll go through with the provision that to find the residential status. So we have categorized all those 8 person into 4 categories. First one is individual. In this individual category, you will come to know about whether you are a resident or non-resident, etc. Whether I am a resident, non-resident, etc. The second category is Hindu undivided family regarding HUF, whether when an HUF will be a resident or non-resident. Then the third case is in case of company. If you are a company, whether you are going to be a resident or not, and the last is for other categories. Except these three, all will fall in this category, like partnership firm, LLP, AOP, etc. All other will fall in this category. So there are four categories in which we will understand when these are going to be resident, non-resident, etc. one by one, and we will start from this part. First of all, we will discuss the residential status of other category of person, including firm, LLP, etc. Very, very easy provision in this category of person. The provisions say if you need to find out whether a partnership firm, LLP, etc. is a resident or not, the concept you need to apply is this. It says you have to find the control and management. You have to find the control and management of that organization. You have to find where is the control and management of that business, that partnership firm, LLP, etc. Where is the control and management? Now you must be thinking, what is the meaning of control and management? So the control and management meaning, again, it's very simple. You need to find out the business meetings. Where are the business meetings of this organization has been held? And it would be given in the question. The information regarding the business meeting will be in the question. So we just need to find out where the business meetings are held of this organization. There would be two possibilities. Either all business meeting, that means whole business meeting, or partly in India. So if all the business meetings are held in India or not all the business meeting, if partly held in India, that organization would be treated as resident in India. And partly means even a single meeting. So suppose the question says there is a partnership firm and it has conducted 10 business meeting in India, 9 out of India and 1 in India. What it will be called? Resident in India. The partnership firm will become resident in India. So even a single meeting has been held in India. In that situation, that organization will be called resident in India. So tell me one thing, if residential status will be resident if whole or partly in India, when this organization will be called non-resident? You can find it out yourself now. When this organization must be or will be called non-resident in India, students? Yes, Lakshmi, correct. Absolutely not in India. That means all business meetings are held outside India. So if all outside India, as simple as that. So even a single business meeting is held in India, you will be called a resident, that organization, of course. And if all business meetings are held outside India, that organization will be treated as non-resident. Till now, any problem? It's simple. Now, if it is a company, if in the question belongs to the residential status of a company, then again, there are two concepts. Either it would be an Indian company in the question. If the question say it is an Indian company, then the universal rule, Indian companies will always be regarded as the resident in India. You need not to check anything. If the question says ABC Limited is an Indian company and whatever extra things, if the question is saying everything else is irrelevant, automatically it would be treated as resident. So all Indian companies will be considered as resident in Income Tax Act. Clear? So this is a fixed rule. If it is not an Indian company, suppose foreign company. In case of foreign company, we have to find out a new concept, and that is called POEM. A new concept we have to find out, and that is POEM. That is place of effective management. POEM stands for place of effective management. Again, if the place of effective management is in India, your foreign company will be resident in India, and if it is outside India, then that foreign company is going to be treated as non-resident in India. Now, the good information, the good news is this: what is the meaning of place of effective management? It is a complete detailed list, including multiple conditions, etc., and situations also. But that is not at intermediate level. That has been in final level. So in the final level, you are going to know about the place of effective management in detail, but on the intermediate level, the concept is just like that. The question will mention that where is the place of effective management is. If it has been written that it is in India, you can treat it as a resident. If it has been mentioned that it is outside India, that foreign company will be treated as non-resident in India. So that is the status of company and other than company. Now we have left with only two-person status, HUF and individual. Let me tell you, there is very complex situations and conditions under residential status provision. So till now, if you will see, there is nothing complicated. So what does that mean? It means that the complication, the complex condition, either it would be in HUF or in individual case, or maybe in both. Because in case of company and other, there is nothing is complicated. You can solve this question very easily. What do you think? The question is going to be asked in the examination from company or other category or from individual or HUF. What is your in thinking about this, students? The Lakshmi is saying India and HUF. Gaurav is saying others. Okay. Sushmita is saying individual HUF. Diya is saying individual HUF. Gayatri, of course, because we are doing CA course. So these very simple concept could be a part of 1 number marks, etc. But the main question, the descriptive kind of solution would be definitely from individual or HUF category. Well done. So now let's see what is the HUF concept regarding being a resident or non-resident. So in case of HUF also, we have to find out control and management, like the same like others. Control and management. We have to find out where is the control and management of that HUF exist. What is the meaning of control and management in this case? Exactly same business meetings. We have to find out the business meetings. Where is the business meetings? Same in case of other. And what is the concept of that business meeting? It says if wholly or partly in India, resident, if wholly outside India, non-resident. So can you tell me the difference between finding out the residential status of HUF and other category? Can you tell me what is the difference of the provision of HUF and other category? Because if you think these are same, then why we are actually showing these separately? We could write it down in other also, firm, LLP, HUF, etc. So is there any difference you can find out in case of HUF and other category of residential status or not? Can you find out the difference between the provision what we have just gone through in case of HUF and other category of person? Sushmita is saying place of origin. Lohit is saying, Mithili is saying no sir. Gayatri is saying no sir. Anyone else? Ketan, yes, of course. Gaurav is saying management. So the correct answer is there is no difference yet. There is no difference yet. Till now, there is no difference. They are exactly same. The control and management, the business meeting, wholly partly outside India, wholly outside India, there is exactly same provision. There is no difference. And if there is no difference, then why we are actually showing the details of HEF separately? We should include it in the other category also. The reason is not showing this HUF part or not merging this HUF part or not consolidating this HUF part or not included this HUF part in the other category. The reason is there is subclassification provision yet to discuss. That means if you are a HUF and if you become a resident, then the answer will not end. This is going to be further subclassified into two categories, whether you are going to be a resident and ordinary resident, or you are going to be a resident and not ordinary resident. So the problem is, in case of HUF, if you become resident, the answer not ends. You have to further subclassify it in other category. Resident or ordinary resident and resident and not ordinary resident. But that is not in case of other categories and company. In the companies and other category, the answer ends on this part. Resident, non-resident, resident, non-resident. There is no further subclassification in this case. No subclassification. So this is the difference. Up to you can say to find out the resident and non-resident. The concept is same in case of HUFN and partnership firm. But once you become a resident in case of HUF, the answer does not end. You need to further check it for the subclassification in case of resident or ordinary resident or resident or not ordinary resident. So when a HUF will be resident and ordinary resident or resident or not ordinary resident, that we will find out after completion of individual residential status provision. Why? Because they are interconnected. So if you will be able to understand the provision of individual for becoming a resident and non-resident, you will be automatically understand then when an HUF would be a ROR or RNOR. So that's why these HUF provision going to be discussed in the subclassification part is going to be discussed after the concept of individual case. Understood? Till now, clear students? Divya is asking, can you please repeat CBM full form? It's not CBM, it's C&M, control and management. So maybe you are thinking this is B, this is control and management. Same thing, which is in other category. Okay. Sridhar is asking POEM business meeting. No, POEM has a separate detailed explanation with multiple condition and situation. So POEM is in final. So that's a good thing for you. So in the question, it would be given there. If the question relates to a company, foreign company, they will mention it, whether the POEM is in India or not. You need not to understand the concept of POEM in intermediate level. Okay, Mr. Sridhar? Okay. So now moving on to the provision of individual. And of course, as I told you, the conditions of residential status is complicated, and till now there is nothing complicated. So technically, the complicated part is in case of individual category. That means it's talking about you and me. So in this individual category, we will see whether you and me would be a resident or non-resident. So you can apply the condition of individual upon yourself to find out whether you are a resident or non-resident, etc. So one by one, we will discuss the condition of individual. And because that is a multiple conditions are there, so I will solve that part on a separate sheet. So this is our individual residential status concept. And do not worry, I have already prepared the chart also in detail. The chart I am preparing, these are also, I have already made this chart. So that has been uploaded also. So you need not to prepare this chart. The chart in the Word form in PDF, you can find it out on the portal. You can download it and you can check that chart to understand the provision in Ago. So in case of individual, if you need to find out whether you are a resident or not, so there would be two cases, of course. Either you would be a non-resident or you would be a resident. In case of individual, there would be two kind of resident. Either you would be a normal resident or you would be a deemed resident. Normal resident under section 6.1, deemed resident under section 6.1a. Now we are falling under normal resident category or deemed resident, that you will be able to understand when we will discuss the provision one by one. To become a normal resident, there are two categories of conditions. There are two categories of condition. These are general condition so if you do fall in this general conditions, and if you fulfill these general condition, you will be a resident in India. And there are some special conditions also. There are some individual, those can fall in this special conditions that has been categorized in B. Now let me tell you students, before solving a question of residential status, it's my humble request to all of you, please before solving that question, find it out. With the information given in the question, please find it out. Whether you do fall in general condition or you fall in special condition case. Because if you do fall in general condition case, you have to check yourself whether you are a resident or not as per general conditions category. And if your conditions and if you do fall in special condition circumstances, then condition of checking a residential status would be different. So before solving a question, find it out whether you are in a general condition category or special condition category. One more thing to all of you, there is no bifurcation like general condition, special condition in your act or income tax provision. This is for your convenience. This is for if you'll able to find out like this bifurcation, you would be able to understand which category do I fall. And once you find out which category do I fall, you would be able to apply the condition also correctly. So first of all, the general condition we are discussing. So if you do fall in general condition, it says two condition would be applied. And if you do fall in A category, if you fulfill any of these condition of general condition, any of these condition, you will be called a resident in India. The first condition is if you are in India for more than equal to 182 days, in India. If you are in India for more than equal to 182 days in previous year. So what is our previous year? Our previous year is 25-26. So 25-26 means we are talking about this time duration. 1st April 25 till 31st March 26. So during this time duration, if you are in India for more than or equal to 182 days, you will be called resident in India for this year. Apply this condition upon yourself. We are talking about the last year which has been passed on. So if all of you or any of you is in India for 182 days or more in last year, 1st April 25 till 31st March 26, you will be called a resident. So as I was in India in this time duration for more than 182 days, so I am a resident as per general condition. Understood? And you can see in a year, if it is not a leap year, total number of days is 365. If you'll do half of it, that would be 182.5. So we ignore the decimal. So technically, if you want to understand, it is also like this, that if half of the year you are in India, you will be called a resident. Let me tell you, there is no requirement of continuous stay of 182 days. There's nothing which says that you have to be in India for these days continuously. No, that is not a requirement. Either it could be continuously or it could be in part. We are just need to find out the aggregate of days. So suppose somebody was in India during this duration for 100 days, then he went outside India, again came back for 50 days, then again went outside India, then again came back for 40 days. So 100 plus 50 and 40, total 190 day he was in India. So he will be a resident. So days limit is not continuously, either it could be continuously or not, does not matter. In aggregate, he or she, if is in India for more than equal to 182 days, he or she would be treated as resident in India if the general condition satisfied. Okay, if you do following category here. Now, point number 2 also, you need to fulfill any of it. If you fulfill any of these conditions, you will be called a resident in India. The condition number 2, if in the question anyone has fulfilled first condition and become a resident, then you need not to check the second condition. Second condition will also only going to be checked when the first has not been fulfilled. The condition number 2 says, if you are in India for more than equal to 60 days in India in previous year, 25-26. So if you are not in India for 182 days or more, but still if you are in India for only 60 days in the previous year, and the second condition is having two conditions, you have to fulfill these two together. 60 days in India in previous year and more than equal to 365 days. 365 days in India in 4 preceding previous year. 4 preceding previous year. So in current previous year, you must be in India for 60 days or more. But including that condition of current year, you have to fulfill this also, that you would be in India. You have to be in India in the last 4 preceding previous year for more than equal to 365 days. So 4 preceding previous year means we are talking about previous year 24-25, 23-24, 22-23, 21-22. So in these 4 preceding previous year, you should be in India for 365 days and more. And current year, the condition is only 60 days. So either in current year is 182, you are a resident. But suppose you are not in India for 182 days in the current year, then the second condition need to be checked. And if the second has been fulfilled, you will be treated as resident in India. For example, let me give you an example for this kind of condition. Suppose there is Mr. A who comes to visit India for 100 days. Mr. A, not visit, Mr. A stay in India 100 days every year from last 10 years. So now if I'll ask you to find out the residential status of Mr. A, so he's not satisfying condition number 1. So he's not in India for 182 days. But if you see, he's satisfied the condition number 2. 100 days in India in previous year. And in 4 preceding previous year, he would be in India for 400 days. 100 days every year. So in the last 4 years, he would be in India for 400 days. So the second part of the second condition, 365 days one, also satisfied. So even if he's not fulfilling first condition, he is fulfilling second condition of general case category A. So he or she will be treated as resident in India. So understood these two conditions? So these are general conditions. So if you do fall in category A, general condition, these two conditions is going to be checked upon you. If you fulfill any of these conditions, you will be called a resident in India. If you do fall under category A, we're still left with category B condition. Okay, tell me one thing. Anything complicated in individual category till now? As I've told you, this is complicated condition. So do you feel there is something complicated till now in this individual category? No, they are saying no. Lakshmi is saying no. Gayatri is saying no. Sridhar is saying no. Very good. Because it's not end yet. And when we will complete this, your answer would be yes. You all will say yes, sir. It is complicated. So if it is no, that means it's not completed yet. Yet to come. More to come. So general condition we have discussed, student. Now we are moving on to our special condition. So these special conditions are very, very, very important. As in the starting, I have asked you that if there is a question regarding the residential status of an individual, please find, firstly, you need to check whether it's a category A case or it's a category B case. If it is category A, you need to check these two conditions. If yes, he or she would be a resident. And if it does fall in B category, then there are 3 special condition has been mentioned. There are 3 special condition for category B. The condition number 1, the situation number 1, we can say, situation 1 is applicable on those individuals. Change the color. This is correct. Okay. So this is for those individual those are citizen of India. So we have discussed the meaning of this word citizen of India initially. That's why we have discussed earlier that now we do not need to break the flow of the provision. Now we already know what is the meaning of citizen of India. So for those individuals, those are citizen of India. They can take the benefit of category B. So this category B is for your benefit. If you do fall in category B, that is a good news for you. If you do fall in category A, that's a bad news to you in respect of income tax taxability. So if you are an individual, we are all are individuals and we are citizen of India also. So this category could be applied upon me. The condition 1 could be applied upon me, but it's not yet completed. So if you are an individual and citizen of India, and if you are going outside India, so this benefit of category B can be taken by only those individuals, those are Indian citizen like me and you. And if we are going outside India, permanently in previous year. The person leaving India, remember the provision. The person, those are leaving India permanently. So if we are an individual, we are a citizen of India, and we are going outside India. Outside India, we are going. Okay? And the reason of outside going India should be any of these. If you are going outside India for employment purpose, you got a job and you are going outside India for employment purpose. So purpose also mentioned. If you are going outside India for employment purpose, or if you are going outside India as a crew member of, crew means of course member, crew member of Indian ship. So if you are working on an Indian ship like merchant navy, etc., we are talking about. So you are going on a merchant navy or Indian ship as a crew member, not as a tourist, as an employee of a crew member of an Indian ship. So if suppose you are going for traveling purpose outside India, so we are citizen, we are individual. If we are going outside India for traveling purpose, whether for a month, 2 months, 3 months, this condition would not be applicable. We would fall in category A part. Two conditions need to be checked. So the conditions are very specific. You should be an individual, citizen. This benefit is only for citizen, not for person of Indian origin, only for citizen. And if you are leaving India, if you are going outside India, either for employment outside India or as a crew member of an Indian ship, then you can take the advantage of category B. Now, what is the advantage of this category? So if you fulfill, if you do fall, or if you fulfill in first point of category B, then you will be called or you will be a resident only if you fulfill first condition. Only one condition is applicable for these persons. More than equal to 182 days in India in previous year, 25-26. So in category A, there are two conditions to check whether you are a resident or not. Let me tell you, to become a resident is not a good news from the point of view of taxability. Being a non-resident is a good news for the purpose of taxability. So if you do fall in B category first point, then you will be a resident only if you satisfied first condition. Only if you satisfied first condition, you will be a resident. Only one condition is applicable. 60 days and 365 days condition not applicable. So if you do fall in category B, then only first condition need to be checked. If you fulfill that condition, you will be a resident, not you will be a non-resident. So technically you will be a non-resident if you fall in category A. If you do not fulfill these any of these conditions, then you become a non-resident. In case of A category case, if you do not fall any of these conditions. But if you do fall in category B, first point, then if you do not fulfill first condition of 182 days, you will become non-resident. So for A category, two conditions need to be checked. And for B category, only one condition of 182 days will be checked to become a resident. If fulfill, resident; does not fulfill, non-resident. We can show it like this also. If this is yes, resident. If this is no, non-resident. As simple as that. So the difference between category A and B is this. Category A, two conditions need to be checked. Category B, only one condition need to be checked. So more probability to become a non-resident. The higher probability of becoming a non-resident in category B. Because only one condition need to check. If fulfill, yes, otherwise you are a non-resident. If you are a non-resident, it's a good news from the point of view of taxability. How it is good? You will come to know when we will discuss the second part of this chapter, incidence of tax. You will see the lower taxability for non-resident. Okay, so that is special condition category B first case. Now second case. This is for those individual going outside India. Okay, now second is for those individual, those are already outside India. Those are settled outside India. There must be some relative of yours. Those are actually staying outside India permanently, but now they are coming to visit India. So they generally come to visit India to meet the relatives or for any marriage function or just to travel India, etc. So second conditions are for those individuals, those reside outside India, but they are just coming to India for visit purpose, temporary purpose. So the condition says this is also for, of course, individuals. And this is apply for both individuals, whether you are a citizen of India or person of Indian origin. So to be very precise, please understand in first benefit, this is only for citizens, not for person of Indian origin. If the question says an individual who is a person of Indian origin going outside India, in that case, that is fall in category A. Both conditions need to be checked. If only for citizen, disadvantage is there. So now, if any individual who is citizen or person of Indian origin, those reside outside India. Generally, they reside outside India, but they are coming to India just for visit. So if they are coming to India for visit purpose only for visit. So again, same case. First condition need to be checked. So if they in India during that visit for 182 days in India in previous year. So the answer is yes, they will be resident. Answer is no, they will be non-resident. So when your relative comes to meet you in India, if they stay in India for 182 days or more, then only they will become resident. And if they'll go back within those 182 days, then 60 days condition, we will not check upon those person also. So if you are an individual citizen going outside India for employment, crew member of Indian ship, only first condition is going to be checked. Same in case of individual citizen, person of Indian origin. This benefit is for both, whether you are a citizen of India or person of Indian origin, you will be called a resident if you satisfied condition 1 only. Clear? Now condition number 3rd. So if you do fall in category B, 3rd point, you can see in category B, first and second point, only one condition to check. But in category 3, again, two conditions. One is same, 182 days, a new condition is going to be added in this. So if you are an individual, again, this benefit is for both citizen, person of Indian origin. Almost same like condition number 2, reside outside India. And there is one more addition, reside outside India and you have income, you are earning income from Indian sources. Still, you are residing outside India, but you are earning income from India also. Like you have a property in India, you are getting rent from it, you have purchased some shares in Indian company, getting dividend, interest income, any business branch in India, etc., etc. So you are residing outside India and you are earning income from Indian sources, exceeding 15 lakh rupees in a previous year. So if that kind of person, suppose you have a relative, those reside outside India. You have two relatives, those reside outside India. One do not have more than 15 lakh rupees income from Indian sources. Your one relative does not have any income from Indian sources, and even if income from Indian sources, that is not exceeding 15 lakh. That will fall in second category if they do visit India in previous year. Your second relative also having earning income from India, and that is exceeding 15 lakh rupees. They are earning rental income, interest income, any business branch income, etc. That would be given in question. So if the individual that is citizen of India, POIO, resident outside India, but if he is also earning income more than 15 lakh from Indian sources, and if that person comes to visit India, so you can find out the difference between category 2 and 3. So category 2 and 3 almost talking about the same kind of person, but this is having a separate extra condition. If that individual does not have Indian source income exceeding 15 lakh, then second point, if income exceeding 15 lakh, third condition need to be checked. And for that category of person, government has prepared two conditions. First is same, more than 182 days in India in previous year. And you will see, or second condition, this condition is almost similar to the second condition of category A. What was the second condition of category A? More than equal to 60 days in previous year and 365 days or more in 4 preceding previous year. That was the condition. Almost same condition is there, just 60 days has been replaced by 120 days. More than equal to 120 days in previous year and more than equal to 365 days in 4 preceding previous year. So if any of these condition has been fulfilled, any of these condition, resident, no condition fulfilled, non-resident. This is a special category, number 2 condition. Do not worry, students. I have prepared this diagram and already uploaded it on the portal. You can find it out. But as a whole, you can see these are individual category provision we have gone through till now. So let's revise once again. If you are an individual, either you would be a normal or you would be a deemed resident. In case of normal resident, there are category A and category B. Category A is general condition cases. Category B, you can say exceptional conditions, special condition, whatever you will think. If you do fall in general condition, when you will fall in general condition? When you do not fall in category B. So first of all, you have to check in the question whether category B applicable or not. If category B is not applicable, then that means we have to check two conditions. We are in category A. So if any of these conditions fulfill, you are a resident. None of these conditions fulfill, you are a non-resident. If you do fall in category B1, 2, or 3, if you do fall in one category, then first condition need to be checked only. If you fulfill in second point of category B, only first condition need to be checked. If you do fall in third category, which is similar to second category of B case, in that case, there are two conditions you need to check. First is same, but second, only 120 has been replaced. You can see in replacement of 60 days. So 120 in previous year and 365 in 4 preceding year condition you need to check in this category. If any of these conditions fulfill, resident, else you would be a non-resident. So, अब बताओ student, as I have asked, I have told you in the starting of this class that these provisions are complicated. And I believe till now you must feel that these are complicated. Before that you were saying that is not complicated, but I believe now you all must be feeling that yes, this is complicated. Just a second. Let me see if there is any query on query portal. No query. Okay, so what is your opinion, students? Only two answers are here. Golty analyst saying, sir, in case person of Indian origin, we should always apply him general condition, right, sir? No. If you are a person of Indian origin, special conditions are here. You can see there is person of Indian origin. POIO is the short form of person of Indian origin. So person of Indian origin is in B category, second and third point include. Sridhar saying, yes, little bit. Visual is saying difficult, very good. Methali is saying slightly complicated. But let me tell you, student, if you think it's little little bit complicated. It's not yet end. It's still more to come. So until you will feel, oh God, what are these conditions? Till that, these conditions are going to be on and on and on. So we have discussed the normal resident, but till now we have discussed one thing, that if you are resident or whether you are a non-resident. But sub-classification left. Like in case of HUF, there was sub-classification. Till now, in case of individual, we just need to know how to find out whether you are a resident or non-resident. Classification yet to come, but before that, let's discuss this. This is very simple. Deemed resident. We will discuss the deemed resident and then we will move on to the sub-classification part. So deemed resident is a very simple concept. It says if you are an individual and citizen of India, no POIU included. If you are an individual, citizen of India, you reside outside India. So you will feel it. It is more connected to category B, third point. Almost same condition. In category point number 3, POIU also included. But in case of deemed resident, only citizen can be a deemed resident. So if you are an individual, you are a citizen of India, you reside outside India, and you are having more than 15 lakh rupees income from Indian sources. You can see still this kind of condition in point number 3 also of category B. So if you are having more than 15 lakh rupees income from Indian sources and no tax in the country you reside. So suppose he reside in Dubai. So there should not be any tax in that. If suppose you reside in Kuwait, UAE, etc. So there should not be any tax in the country you reside. So suppose your one relative reside in any country, like suppose you lived in UAE, your relative lived in UAE and earning more than 15 lakh rupees income from Indian sources, and there is suppose no tax in UAE. Abhi to there is corporate tax, suppose no tax in UAE. In that case, that person is going to be called deemed resident for India. So if all these conditions fulfill, those individual will be treated as deemed resident. Now, can you tell me or can you find out there are two differences in the condition of third point of category B and deemed resident case? And there is nothing to check. He will be automatically called deemed resident. The 182 days, the 120 days condition need not to be checked. If you do fall or if you fulfill the condition as I have mentioned in deemed resident case, then you will, if you satisfy this condition, you will be a deemed resident automatically. So can you spot out the two main difference in the third point of B category conditions? These. And the deemed resident condition. Two conditions. There are two differences. Yathiraj is saying that can you explain second condition? Yathiraj, we are on YouTube. You can scroll back and you can check the condition as much time as you want. Golti is saying, sir, in case of crew member of Indian ship, what is the criteria? 1200 nautical mile. So that is, you should go through with the definition of India. In that, it has been mentioned how much nautical mile will be treated as within India. It's not 1200 nautical mile. It is around about 200 nautical mile. Then there is special economic zone, then exclusive economic zone, then continental shelf, etc. So that is not need to be bothered. Sridhar is saying, sir, Indian player, one special condition is satisfied due to player play for the nation. What does that mean, Sridhar? I'm not able to understand your question. Lohit has correct, mentioned correctly. Ketan also mentioned correctly. One difference is POIO is not included in deemed resident. If you are not a citizen, you are only a POIO. You cannot be a deemed resident. First difference is exactly this. And the second condition, of course, a lot of student has been find out. The second condition is there is no need to visit India. In third point, you need to visit India for 120 days, etc., etc. But if you fulfill these conditions, you are an individual citizen, reside outside India, more than 15 lakh, and no tax in your country, then even if you are not coming to India in previous year, you will be treated as deemed resident. And of course, one more condition, there should not be any tax in the country you reside. In third point, whether the country you reside there is tax or not does not matter. If you come to India for 120 days or more, you would be a resident. But for becoming a deemed resident, there should not be any tax on the country you reside. So technically, we are talking about three conditions. Three differences. First is there is no POIO in deemed resident. The second is number of days visit does not matter in case of deemed resident. And the third condition is no tax should be there in the country in which you reside. Very well done, students. There are three major differences in these categories. So now we have completed all the provision to find out whether someone is resident or not resident. But the subclassification left. The subclassification of HUF left and the subclassification of individual also left till now. Before that, let's discuss the provision with the help of the notes. Okay. So now you can see the residential status, section 6, the incidence. The incidence of tax on any assessee depends upon his residential status under the Act for all purpose of income tax. Just a second, let me share the PDF file. So that would be easy. Status. Okay. So the incidence of tax on any assessee depends upon his residential status under the Act. For all purpose of income tax, taxpayer, individual and HUF are classified into three broad categories. Whether you are a resident or ordinary resident, resident not ordinary resident or non-resident. As you have seen, but other than individual HUF only can be resident or non-resident, as we have seen in case of a company and partnership firm, etc. So you can see individual status and HUF status could be subclassified also. But in case of company, firm, etc., either they could be resident or non-resident. The residential status of an assessee must be ascertained with the reference to each previous year. So a person can be resident in current year, in this year, and could be a non-resident in next year also, or vice versa. So status can be changed every year. A person who is resident are some special condition. If control management completely outside India, non-resident, the essential status of that firm, etc. So HUF provision you can see. Now in case of company, the provision we have already gone through is for place of effective management. So come to find out the place, you will be a resident, else non-resident. The place of effective management depending upon various conditions that is going to be discussed at final level. So we have discussed the concept, what we have gone through with the help of the chart till now, we have just revised from the help of the notes. But there are one or two clarification that we are going to discuss, and then one or two simple case also. So the condition, as we have discussed, you need to check it. The condition is mentioned in the notes also. You will find it out when you will be considered the day of departure. Suppose somebody is leaving India just right now after 1 hour. This is now 8:20. Suppose somebody is leaving India at 10 a.m. today. 12 to 10 a.m. he is in India for this day, and for next 14 hours he will not be in India. But for the purpose of days of calculation, the provision says if somebody in India for even a 1 hour in a day, we will consider that complete day in stay in India. So the day of departure and the day of arrival in India will be assumed as full day stay in India. For example, suppose somebody is coming into India at 11 p.m. tonight. 11 p.m. tonight. Somebody is coming into India at 11 p.m. So technically for today, he is only for 1 hour in India. But for the purpose of calculation, we will consider full day of today as he is staying in India. So the note as stay full day in India. Now a very simple question for all of you. A citizen of India who stay outside India, generally he reside outside India, reside in suppose USA. He comes to visit India for 200 days on 1st December 2025. Find out his residential status. Of course, if the income information has not been given, then consider it as less than 15 lakh rupees. Do not assume it is exceeding 15 lakhs, so you are applying deemed resident concept. With the help of this information, you need to tell me whether he is a resident of India or not resident. Let me tell you before applying the provision. Need to always please check whether it's a category A question or category B question. Then go further to find out the residential status. Please, it's a request. Before applying the condition, find out it's a category A question or category B question. Lohit is saying non-resident. Dhanlakshmi is saying category B. Second, non-resident category B. Apply category yourself and then give me the answer whether he would be a resident or non-resident. Okay, apply category yourself. That is for your purpose. That before solving that question, you need to find out category A, B, etc. and then give me the answer resident or non-resident. Then we will check is it correct or not. Simple question, students, not difficult at all. If we are saying non-resident, Mithali is saying resident, Visual is saying non-resident, Avjit is saying non-resident, Sridhar is saying non-resident, Gaulti is saying resident, Gayatri is saying non-resident. Meenakshi is saying non-resident, Yathiraj is saying resident, very good. Sushmita is saying non-resident. Anyone else left? I guess. He's residing outside India, citizen. So technically it's B category, second point is there. Clear? And if you do fall in B category, second point, you do not need to mention this B category second point in examination. That is for your processing. Once you will find out the correct category, you will be able to apply the condition also. So only one condition would be there, more than equal to 182 days in India, then resident, otherwise non-resident. So the question says that he is in India for 200 days. So that means he should be a resident, but that is not correct. The correct answer is non-resident. Why? Because this condition says 182 days in India in previous year. And our previous year is 25-26. That means we are talking about the duration from 1st April 2025 till 31st March. He comes on first 31 days of December, then January, then February, then March. So out of these 200 days, he stayed in India. In my previous year only, these days will fall. That means how many days? 121 days only he is in India. Yes, out of these 200 days, 121 days in this year and the balance, that means 79 days. He is in India for next previous year, 26-27. So technically, we need to solve for 25-26. For those this year, he's only in 121 days in India. So he does not satisfy 182 days condition. So he will become non-resident. Mr. Ketan is saying B2 category talks about citizen and PUIU. Will it be that category or category A general condition? No. If you are residing outside India, coming to India, or if you are leaving India permanently, then B category apply. If you are not leaving India permanently, if you are not residing outside India, in that case, category B does not exist. Suppose you are going outside India to attend a marriage. In that case, you will fall in category A because you are going outside India, but the purpose should be employment. Going outside India, other than these, Mithali is saying 111 days. No, it's 121 days, I believe. Mithali calculated correctly. Number of days calculation भी गलत करेंगे तो कैसे चलेगा? Okay, चलो. So this is how we need to find out the correct category. Once you find out the correct category, you will be able to find out, I believe, the correct status also. Please keep in your mind, in category B, the condition either you are going outside India permanently, that is important, or you are already residing outside India permanently but comes to visit India. Then we have to check whether your income is 15 lakh more, etc. So when you will practice these questions, you will find it out which category it is applicable, how to apply the categories also. Okay, chalo. Now one special provision. Now we have find out in case of individual. Things are going to be little more complex. This is last complexity. After that, individual concept is going to end. So we have find out that how individual would be either non-resident or this individual is going to be a resident. Whether it would be a normal resident or it would be a deemed resident. Further now, the subclassification starts. It says if you become a resident, whether a normal resident or deemed resident. So if you are a non-resident, your answer ends. You write it down, you're a non-resident, it's finished, it's over. You are free. The answer is completed. But if the person become resident, if that individual become resident, then sub-classification would be there. What is your opinion? In examination, what will examiner will do? He will draft a question in which you will become a resident or non-resident. What is your opinion? Let me see what is the opinion of students. Of course, resident, they will make that individual as a resident, because in that case, the complete provision they can check that students know about the concept. So institute wants to know whether you have gone through with the complete provision, comprehensive study, or you just superficially learn the provision. So a sincere student who have completed the full provision, including the subclassification, that needs to be selected by the institute to become a chartered accountant or to shift him into the final level. So if they will not ask about the subclassification, then suppose a student who did not go through with the subclassification provision and a student who complete the concept with the subclassification concept, they both will get the equal marks. Understanding what I'm saying? If you'll think the paper is complicated, why paper is so complicated? This is to sorting it out those students, those are sincere. So if two students, one only completed till resident and non-resident concept and one who has gone with the complete subclassification also. And suppose an examination subclassification did not ask by the institute. So what will happen? They both will get the same marks. But are they exactly the same kind of students? Which deserve the most? Which student deserve more to be selected as a CA? The second one who has gone through with the complete provision. So that is for those students, those are sincere. So if the paper is difficult, if the question is lengthy, that actually for sorting out those students, those were not that sincere, the sincerity you have completed. So when you feel the paper is difficult, let me tell you, it is a good news for you, because those have not completed, those who have just done the selected studies will be out of the race instantly. So institute can find out your kind of students who have gone through with all provisions, who did not go for selected study, but they have gone for comprehensive studies. So understood why paper is complicated? For the benefit of you students, for your benefit. Chalo. So now we are moving on to the sub-classification. Now sub-classification will be in two categories. Either you would be of course, resident or ordinary resident. If you are a resident, after sub-classification, the final level is either you would be a resident or ordinary resident, or you will become a resident and not out the resident and not ordinary resident sub-classification. So this is going to be easy for you. So resident and not ordinary resident. So this is in three cases. Do not worry, it's not difficult, easy, very easy, I believe. So if you are a resident, as per category A or category B, first point or second point. If you become a resident, either in category A or category B, first or second point, then first category we will find out. If you become a resident, I have just making these differences because it will make provision less complicated. In examination, you will know how to find out RNOR or ROR. So if you become a resident as per B category, third point, that 15 lakh person, then you need to find out whether he's a resident, not ordinary resident, as per these conditions. And the good news is third point. If you are a deemed resident, if you become a resident, and that is deemed resident. Deemed resident fixed rule, always resident and not ordinary resident. You do not need to check any condition for deemed resident. They will automatically become resident and not ordinary resident. So the hard work is to find out whether you are a resident and not ordinary resident for category A and B 1 and 2 point and category B third case. Only one difference in this. Now these two conditions. If any of these conditions fulfill, that individual who is resident as per category A or B first or second point will become a resident and not ordinary resident. And if any of these condition does not fulfill, that would become resident and ordinary resident. So first condition is very, very, very easy. It says you become a resident as per category A or B category one or second point. So if you become a resident and if you satisfy this condition A, if you are less than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year in India. So listen very carefully. You become a resident after fulfilling 182 days condition or that 60 days condition at India less than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year, then you will be treated as a resident and not ordinary resident. We are talking about 7 preceding previous year in India, except the previous year. So technically, we are talking about previous year 24-25, 23-24, 22-23, 21-22, 20-21, 19-20, 18-19. These are 7 preceding previous year we are talking about. So in aggregate in these 7 preceding year, our current previous year is 25-26. So on the basis of this, we have find out the status that you are a resident or not. But for finding out whether you are a resident and not ordinary resident, we have to consider only 7 preceding previous year. So if in these 7 preceding previous year, you are in India for less than 730 days, you will become a resident and not ordinary resident. Let me give you an example. Suppose the question says, Mr. A foreign citizen, he's a foreign citizen. Because the good news is, if the question says it's a foreign citizen, then automatically category A applicable. Because in B category, you need to be a citizen of India. So if you are a foreign citizen, automatically category A applies. So suppose Mr. A Must have your coffee, tea, water, etc. So we were discussing the provision of residential status. And in these provisions, we have gone through to find out the residential status of a partnership firm, then company, then HUF. The subclassification of HUF is still left. Then we were discussing the provision of individual, in which we have seen that whether you will be a normal resident or a deemed resident. For normal resident, there are two categories. Category A, if you do fall in category A, then there are two conditions. If any one of it has been fulfilled, you will be a resident. If does not fulfill, you will be a non-resident. Once you will become a non-resident, there is no further subclassification required. If you do fall in category B, there are three specific cases in which first case was individual citizen going outside India for employment or as a crew member of Indian ship. So if you do fall in this point number one of B category, only first condition is applicable. More than 182 days or equal, you will be a resident, else non-resident. If you are an individual citizen or person of Indian origin who reside outside India but comes to visit India in previous year, then again 182-day condition only applicable. You will be resident or non-resident. But if you are an individual who is citizen, person of Indian origin, reside outside India, comes to visit and also having income from Indian sources exceeding 15 lakh rupees, then two condition is applied to find out whether you are a resident or not. 182 days or more, and the second will be same as per category A with a replacement of 120 days instead of 60 days condition. Any of it fulfill, you will become a resident, else non-resident. The deemed resident concept is fixed. If you are an individual citizen, reside outside India, earning Indian source income exceeding 15 lakh rupees, and you are not paying tax in the country you reside, then you will be automatically become deemed resident. Once you will be a deemed resident, that would be automatically resident and not ordinary resident. Till here, we have completed the provision. We were on resident and not ordinary resident provision, in which we have seen that if you are resident as per category A or B.1 or 2, then you have two conditions. If any of it fulfill, you will become a resident and not ordinary resident. The first condition we have already discussed with the help of example. If you are in India less than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year, in that case, you will be a resident and not ordinary resident in India. Now, condition number B comes into the picture. The condition B, when I'm going to teach you, you might feel what it is. Might be you will feel little more in shock, in surprise that how we will check this condition. But let me tell you, when we will solve a question, you will find it out. Again, this condition also not that complicated. So A condition was if you are less than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year. And now the B condition, if you are not able to fulfill condition A, then we have to check condition number B, and the condition number B says that individual should be non-resident for equal to 9 out of 10 preceding previous year. So if either you fulfill this condition, you are in India less than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year. If this does not fulfill, then we have to check that that individual should be at least 9 years or more, at least 9 years or more, non-resident. That individual should have the status of as a non-resident in 9 preceding previous year out of 10 preceding previous year. So except the previous year 25-26 and last preceding 10 previous year, he should have been non-resident out of that 10 preceding previous year for at least 9 preceding previous year. Like we have write it down 7 preceding previous year over here. So now for this condition number B, we have to check for 3 more year, 17, 18, 16, 17, and 15, 16. So condition A was saying in these 7 preceding previous year, you should be in India for less than 730 days. So if this does not fulfill, then what condition B says? Now condition B says, out of these 10 preceding previous year, you should be at least 9 years non-resident status. That means you can be resident only for 1 year. If you are resident for 2 years, that means this condition cannot be fulfilled. So out of last 10 preceding previous year, you have to be non-resident for at least 9 preceding previous year out of these 10 preceding previous years. So you might be feeling this is again complicated, but let me show you with the help of an example. The same example we have gone through over here. Let me extend that example or let me change this. Suppose Mr. A, a foreign citizen, comes to visit. I am just changing one thing. 110 days. I have just changed from 100 days. This limit I have just changed to 110 days in India. Every year from last 15 years. Everything else is same. Just I change these number of days to 110 days. Again, a foreign citizen. So category A will be applicable. First condition of 182 days will not be satisfied. But the second condition of 60 days plus 365 days. So he would be in India for 110 days, satisfied. 440 days in 4 years. This is also satisfied. So he will be a resident in India. Now in preceding 7 years, we have to see whether he is in India for less than 730 days. So to find out whether he is a resident and ordinary resident or resident or not ordinary resident, we have to find out the condition. To become a resident and not ordinary resident, the first condition is less than 730 days in 7 PPY. So because he is in India for 110 days every year, so that means he would be in India for 770 days in 7 preceding previous year. But we should have him less than 730 days. That means this condition does not fulfill. Now we have to check the condition number B, which is this condition. So if you will see in last 10 preceding previous year, we have to see that he should have been attained the status of non-resident for at least 9 preceding previous year out of 10 preceding previous year. One by one we will check. You might be feeling now we have to do this hard work 10 times. No, it's not so, students. Let's see. In 24-25, if you'll apply the same condition on Mr. A, we will see whether he is a resident or not in 24-25. So in 24-25 again, he will not satisfy this condition of 182 days because he's in India for 110 days. But again in 24-25, he must have fulfilled this condition. In 24-25, he would have been in India for 110 days. In last 4 preceding previous year from 24-25, he would have been in India for 440 days. So what he will become in 24-25? Resident. So out of 10, he become resident in 24-25. Then I will again check this condition in 23-24. Again, he will satisfy this condition in 23-24. In this year, he is 110 days and last 4 preceding year, 440. Again, become resident. Once someone become resident 2 years out of 10. So suppose if out of 10 years, you become 2-year resident. Now, is this 9-year condition can be satisfied anyhow? even if I'll check all years now, 22, 23, is it useful to check these year right now? Because in 2 years, if somebody become resident, then out of 10 years, the 9-year condition cannot be satisfied at all. So that's the beauty of these kind of question. Examiner do not want you to calculate 10 times whether he is a resident or not. They will frame a question in which in the initial 1 or 2 year, he will become resident. And as soon as he becomes 2-year resident, you can write it down that B condition cannot be satisfied. So he will be a resident and ordinary resident. So when we go through with condition number B, we think this is very complicated. For 10 years, we have to check the condition. It will not happen anyhow because examiner also know same provision they do not want to you to solve 10 times. So they will make you resident in a 1 or 2 year. So you will find it out that this condition cannot be fulfilled. So your judgment would be there that he or she would be a resident and ordinary resident because he or she did not satisfy in condition number A or condition number B. Clear? Correct. Gold is saying condition is off in case when he is resident for 2 years. Yes, as soon as he becomes 2-year resident, then of course B condition cannot satisfy it. And if A and B both cannot satisfy it, then what he or she will become? Resident and ordinary resident. So that was the resident and ordinary resident. Now we are left with resident B third category. You know what is resident 3 third category? Category B third point was individual, citizen, POIO comes to India to visit and having more than 15 lakh income from Indian sources. So if the person falls in B category third point, and now you need to find out whether he's a resident or non-resident. Condition is same, less than 730 days, same condition. Apply on this person also. The second is also same, 9 out of 10 years non-resident. Exactly same condition, no change. A third condition, C is new, that's it. On that B category third point person, you need to check one more condition. If he satisfy any of A, B or C, she will become resident and not ordinary resident. Else, they will remain resident and ordinary resident. The third condition is, if you remember, to become a resident in category B third point, there is condition 1 more than equal to 182 days and the second condition was more than equal to 120 days in the current year and more than equal to 365 days in 4 preceding previous year. Now, if in that current year, he or she is more than 120 days, but less than 182 days in previous year. So if that B category third person is more than equal to 120 days in India in that previous year, but less than 182 days. So if he falls in 121 and 182 days between this limit, then he or she will also called resident and not ordinary resident. So this is a new point for that category, B category third person. If he satisfies this condition, then also he or she will be treated as resident and not ordinary resident. I hope it's clear right now. So we have completed the provision of becoming a resident, non-resident, resident and ordinary resident, resident and not ordinary resident. We have left with the HUF subclassification. Before that, let me show you the chart what I have prepared for all of you to make you understand the provision in a single page. Now you can see that, first of all, let me show you the provision for companies and other case. You can see in case of company, we have diagram also. Here we go. Now you can see that. So you can see in case of a firm and others, control and management, we have to check business meeting, wholly partly India, resident, non-resident. Company case diagram has been over here. You can go through it. Now, if you'll see the HUF case, control management, business meeting, wholly partly India, resident, outside India, non-resident. If resident, then ROR, RNOR. We will discuss that point. Before that, I would like to make you understand the individual provision you need to revise from this chart. If you'll revise the provision of residential status from this chart, that would really going to make these provision very easy for you and clear also. So either you would be a resident, normal, or deemed resident. You can see if citizen of India, reside outside India, comes to visit or not. For the purpose of deemed resident, visit is irrelevant. Whether come to India or not does not matter. Having income more than 15 lakh rupees from Indian sources, not pay tax on this income outside anywhere. Day is irrelevant. Deemed resident, always resident and not ordinary resident. A category, general individual case, basic condition, 2 conditions. A special category, you can see 3 cases. First case, going outside India. Second case, coming into India. Third case, coming into India, having income more than 15 lakh. Then 2 condition applicable. If you become resident, then we have to find out whether you are a resident and not ordinary resident or resident and ordinary resident. For resident as per case A or B, 1 or 2 condition. Any one need to satisfy. Less than 730 days, non-resident for equal to or more than 9 years out of 10 preceding previous year. Only for B case, third category person, 3 condition. First, second, same. And third is new condition more than equal to 120 days, but less than 182 days in India in previous year. Deemed resident, always resident and not ordinary resident. If does not fulfill condition, you will become a resident and ordinary resident. An important note has been mentioned over here. If section 6.1 not if section 6.1 applicable. So first of all, we have to find out whether you are a resident as per normal resident or not. So if section 6.1 applicable, then section 6.1a will not be applicable. So you cannot find out directly someone whether he's a deemed resident or not. First of all, you have to check whether he fulfill normal resident condition or not. So if somebody does not fulfill normal condition under section 6.1, then only you will find out or check out that whether he is a deemed resident or not. So deemed resident will not be checked before checking the normal resident case. So this need to be applied first and this would be second. Clear? So moving on to the provision, what we left, that is HUF status. Now HUF becoming a resident and not ordinary resident. The condition is exactly same as in case of individual, but the language is different. So if you will be able to track that language, if you will be able to decode that language, you will understand that already we have discussed that provision in individual case. Let's see what is the condition, and I wanted to see how many of you can crack that this condition for HUF is exactly similar as in case of individual. Okay, so for HUF, we have already find out how we will find out the HUF is a resident or non-resident. Okay, so HUF become a resident. Then we have to find out whether HUF is resident and not ordinary resident and resident and ordinary resident. Okay. Abhi, we have already completed the individual case. Individual case has completed. An individual case, when we discuss the provision that whether someone would be the resident, ordinary resident, and resident not ordinary resident. In that case, we have to check this. If this condition fulfill, 730 days less than in 7 preceding previous year, or only one need to be fulfilled, or 9 or more year non-resident out of 10 preceding previous year. If any one of it fulfill, you will be a RNOR. If none is fulfilled, then you will be a ROR. So I am not writing down the third condition, just two condition over here to make you understand. Detail has been discussed. Now in case of HUF, now try to decode it. In case of HUF, they did not explain RNOR. They explain ROR. In normal case, we explained what is RNOR. And if condition did not satisfy, then that person would be ROR. And in case of HUF, the reverse has been explained. They have explained what is ROR. And if condition of ROR does not fulfill, then it will become a RNO. Okay. Now, if I'll ask you, I'm writing down something, you have to judge whether I'm writing correct or incorrect. If this condition does not satisfy, this condition, individual condition, the condition to become a resident and not ordinary resident is that you should be less than 730 days in 7 PPY, less than 730 days. So if I want to write it down that when this condition will not satisfy, so can I write it down like this? If the individual is more than equal to 730 days in 7 PPY, can I write it down this condition in reverse mode like this? Less than 730 was required. So when this condition will not satisfy, if that individual is more than equal to 730 days in 7 PPY. So can I write it down? If this does not satisfy, that means 730 days or more he is or she is in India. Is it correct or not? Yes, of course, correct. I can write it down in reverse mode. So to become a resident and not ordinary resident, you have to be in India less than 730 days. And suppose now I'll ask you, when I become a resident and ordinary resident, so that means this condition should not satisfy. So I can explain it like this also to all of you, that if you are more than equal to 730 days in India, that means this RONOR condition will not satisfy. This condition will satisfy. Clear? And if I want to reverse this condition, second condition, can I write it down like this? That if you become resident for more than equal to 2 years out of 10 preceding previous year. So you will be a RNOR if you will be 9 years or more non-resident. So this condition will not satisfy if I write it down like this. If somebody is 2-year resident or more, then that would be a resident and ordinary resident case. Then this condition is not satisfied. Is it? I can write it down like this also. So we are not seeing anything new. It's just the reverse condition. Why I am telling you these reverse condition, I will let you know why I am writing down this reverse condition. Because in case of HUF, they did not explain what will be resident and not ordinary resident. They say if the Karta, in case of HUF, we have to check this condition on Karta. And Karta is what? Karta is an individual, the elder co-partner of the family. So they explain in the reverse manner that when HUF will be ROR if their Karta is more than equal to 730 days in 7 PPY. So they did not write any new condition. They just explained you from the point of view of ROR. So when somebody would be ROR, when he is more than equal to 730 days in 7 preceding previous year and both conditions should be fulfilled. At least 2-year resident out of 10 preceding previous year. Because if any of these conditions fulfill, automatically become resident and not ordinary resident. So they explain in HUF from the point of view of ROR, not from the point of view of RNOR. Answer will come the same. If you will apply this way, again the answer will be same. You will apply this way, this will be same. And both conditions should be satisfied. He or she should be more than 730 days in 7 preceding previous year and resident for more than equal to 2 years out of 10 preceding previous year. So if both condition fulfill, both, then you will be a resident or ordinary resident. Otherwise, you will be a resident and not ordinary resident. Why I am saying both condition fulfill? Because suppose more than 730 days condition fulfill, but he become 9 years non-resident out of 10. So because he will fulfill this condition, so this condition does not satisfy. So if any of these condition does not satisfy, any of these condition, if both satisfied, ROR. If any of these condition does not satisfy, then automatically become resident and ordinary resident. So I'm just trying to make you understand that these conditions are not new. If you reverse these conditions from the point of view of ROR, then automatically that these will become these conditions. If you'll see in the example in which the foreign person was coming into India for 110 days every year. In the last example, we have gone through with this from last 15 years. So if you'll apply from this point of view on that individual, he is 770 days in India in 7 preceding year. This is fulfilled. And he is 2 years resident. We have seen in the last 2 years, he become resident. So this is also fulfilled. Both fulfill. So he become a ROR. And in the previous example, when he was 100 days in India every year, in that case, he was in India for 700 days. But he must be more than equal to 730. So this not fulfill. Second, you need not to check because if first is not fulfilled, he will automatically become the resident and not ordinary resident. So if in theoretical question, they ask you to explain HUF for ROR and NOR, then you have to write it down ROR2 condition. And if other than HUF in case of individual, they ask you in case of theoretical or numerical, then you have to explain or solve the question with the help of NOR condition. That's why I need to teach you that for HUF, the concept is different. Provisions are same, but the explanation has been from the point of view of ROR. I don't know why. They could explain both from the point of view of NOR. So that could be easy for student to understand, but the intention of both provisions are exactly same. There is no difference. So now you can see in case of HUF, we explain in the diagram the ROR concept. So do not get confused. They exactly explain the same thing from the point of view of ROR concept. If Karta more than equal to 2-year resident out of 10 and if Karta more than equal to 730 days in 7 preceding previous year in India. If Karta fulfill both condition ROR, if Karta does not fulfill both or fulfill any one only, then HUF would be RNOR. Now we can say that individual concept almost there, 99% finished, 1% still left, but 99% we have covered the residential status provision of every person. And you must have seen that company case, HUF case, sorry, company and other case are very easy. everything complicated has been included in the provisions of individual and HUF. Visual is saying, sab khichdi ban gayi hai dimag. Yes, exactly. Khichdi is good for health. I know because these are the multiple condition we have discussed in today's class. Multiple condition. If I would be in your place as a student, when I was a student and when I have gone through with the residential status provision, that time it was not that complicated. From last 3 years, these deemed resident was concept was not there. The B category third point was not there. The RNOR B category third point 120 less than 182 was not there. It has been amended from last 3-4 years back. So I believe it is a complicated thing, and because you are going through with these kind of provision, then must be feeling something is complicated. Now let me tell you one thing. If you revise those provision with the help of a chart, please take the printout dot of that chart. Printout the chart I have uploaded. Please take the printout of 2 pages, the chart diagram pages. And with the printout, please try to understand the process and solve the question. In the next class of Tuesday, every one of you will say, sir, residential provisions are easy. I can bet on it. I can guarantee you. These are not at all difficult. It just because in a single day of 2 hour class, we have discussed these kind of condition having permutation, combination, etc. That's why you are feeling that this is difficult. But let me tell you, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. These are easy. Once you will go through 2-3 questions, you will find out only days need to be checked. That's it. Nothing too more difficult in it. Akhila is saying, sir, you made provision easy to understand. Thank you. You're most welcome, Akhila. Thanks for the appreciation. Okay, now what 1% has left? That is very easy, not difficult at all. But before that, what is that 1%? Now, in case of normal individual, the concept we have gone through with includes the calculation of number of days, etc. Now, this special provision has left on in case of calculation of residential status of an individual. And these special provisions are for crew member of an Indian ship. So there's only one difference. As we have discussed, in the normal case, the day of departure and the day of arrival into India will be treated as those days are stay inside India. We have gone through with that provision in normal case. But in case of crew member of an Indian ship, the provision is slightly changed, very simply changed. This is a special category case. For those individual, those are crew member of an Indian ship. The number of days stay in India will not be calculated. We will calculate the number of days they are outside India. The number of days stay in India, we will not calculate. We will calculate the number of days outside India. Let me tell you in a very simple way. Suppose I am a crew member of an Indian ship. Okay. Now you need to find out my residential status. Then for the purpose of finding out the residential status of mine, you need to ask me when I have boarded into the ship, which is going outside India. So the day I have entered into the ship is in Indian territorial water still. But very interestingly, in case of crew member, the day crew member enter into the ship, we assume he is outside India. Even the ship is inside India. The day you enter into the ship, we will assume he is outside India from that day. Until he is signing off from that ship. He went into the ship, stay outside India. That day, we will assume he is outside India. And then suppose after 1 month ship goes outside India actually, then after 3 months it comes back. So from the day he was entered into that ship till the date the ship came back into India, and the day he's coming out of that ship, signing off certificate, we call it signing off certificate. The day signing of certificate has been signed, we will assume him as outside India. So the remaining days, the day he entered into the ship and the day he signed off the ship, these days will be considered as outside India, whether ship is in India or outside. The remaining days will be considered as his stay in India. Very simple provision with example is here. Solved example I am going to tell you. How to determine the period of stay in India for an Indian citizen being a crew member. Very easy. The day of enter till the date of signing off. Just remember these two words. The day of enter, the day of signing off. This duration would be outside India. Balance is in India. That would be given in the question. In case of foreign bound ships, where the destination of the voyage is outside India, there is uncertainty regarding the manner and the basis of determining the period of stay in India for an Indian citizen being a crew member. To remove this uncertainty, explanation 2 to section 6.1 provides that in the case of an individual being a citizen of India and a member of the crew of foreign bound ship leaving India, the period of stay in India shall, in respect of such voyage, shall be determined in the prescribed manner. What is the prescribed manner? Here is the prescribed manner. This I was talking about. Period to be excluded. That means this period will be assumed as outside India. What is the period? I have told you. The date entered into the continuous discharge certificate. The date of entered certificate. From that date till the signing of certificate date. The date of signing of certificate. This duration will be counted as outside. You might be thinking how to calculate. So for your easiness, there is the question. The date from joining the continuous discharge certificate till the date entered into continuous discharge certificate signing off. This is period we will assume outside India. For example, days in India will be as follows. ऐसे count करेंगे. Total number of days 365. If a leap year 366 we will take. Then we will find that duration of joining certificate and signing of certificate. Those duration we will reduce from total number of days. And the balance number of days would be as days stay in India. With example, Mr. A date of joining 6th June 25 and signing of date is 9th December 25. So how you will find out his status? Total number of days 365. Date of joining, that means from 6th June till 9th of December. Total number of days is 187. So the remaining days in India is technically 178. And because crew member fall in the B category first point, so only he will be treated as resident if he fulfill 182 days condition. So he is in India only for 178 days. So he will become a non-resident as he fall in exceptional case number 1. So need to check only first basic condition of 182 days as he did not fulfill. So he will be non-resident. Clear? Now the provision of individual has been completed. Yes, full day. Meenu Kumari, full day will be treated as outside India. The day he entered into the ship, the day signing off, those full duration will be treated as he is outside India. Yes, Golti, it is opposite of normal case. In that normal case, we assume the day of departure, arrival in India. In crew member, we calculate those days as outside India. Absolutely correct. So those were provisions of individual residential status provision we have just gone through today. So if any query, because we cannot start the incidence of tax provision right now, because I just wanted you to revise till here provision. If we will start the incidence of tax, so that would be more complicated for all of you. So please do revise the residential status provision in the next class, which will be on Tuesday. First of all, we will solve MCQs, and let me give you some homework so you would be able to solve certain questions. So please mark your homework for the purpose of this residential provision. All the questions related to this residential provision now you can solve. Please write it down. Illustration number 1. This is same. I have already solved in the example crew member case. You can see the same question we have just gone through. Fine. So illustration 1 you can try. Then there is illustration number 2. Once you will solve 3, 4 illustration, you will find it out. Residential status is nothing. Very easy questions. Illustration number 3, students. Illustration number 4. Illustration number 5. Actually, I don't have notes right now with me because I am in Delhi. My mother has gone surgery. So I am taking class from not my usual place. So I don't have much thing, notes, etc. So that's why from study I am telling you. Illustration number 6 also you can try. No, 6 no, because 6 is for incidence of tax. So illustration 1 till 5. Then I'm seeing any more questions for you, or I will suggest some test your knowledge question also. So illustration 1 to 5 you have to solve, students, and then test your knowledge question also, write it down. So you will have more practice. Test your knowledge question number 1, question number 2. So only 2 questions from test your knowledge 1 and 2, and illustration number 1 till 5. Please try these, and if you'll try them, I can assure you on next class I'll ask you how you feel this chapter is it difficult or not. I can guarantee you those who are going to revise the provisions, and if they try these 5 illustration and 2 questions, I can guarantee you all of you will say, sir, this is the easiest chapter. It is technically more easier than chapter number 1. If you'll go through in chapter number 1, there are multiple provision of basic rates. You have to understand surcharge, marginal relief, integration provisions. Then we have a composite business provision. So in comparison to it, the residential status is very, very easy. Okay, any query, students? And then we will also solve MCQ also in the next class, and short revision also of some provision. So if you have any queries, students, tell me, else we will go for a small story and then we end our session. So you can send your queries. Till that, let's start our small stories for all of you. And story of course will be in Hindi. तो एक बहुत पुराने जमाने की बात है, तब एक देश था, उसमें एक राजा थे, और वो राजा बहुत पॉपुलर थे अपनी स्किल्स के लिए, अपनी नॉलेज के लिए, हर चीज के लिए। तो उसे बहुत समझदार राजा माना जाता था। तो जो एक पड़ोसी राजा था उनका, वो उनसे जेलस करता था। तो वो चाहता था कि किसी तरह उनकी इंसल्ट हो जाए उनके सारे मंत्री मिनिस्टर्स के सामने। तो उसने अपने एक ज्वेलर को भेजा और बोला कि उस राजा की मुझे इंसल्ट करनी है। तो वो ज्वेलर था, वो बहुत होशियार था, उसने कहा कोई बात नहीं, आई विल हेल्प यू, मैं जाकर उस राजा की इंसल्ट करके आता हूँ, मेरे पास बहुत अच्छी टेक्निक है। तो वो ज्वेलर पहुंचता है उस राजा के देश में, और वो जहां पर राजा बैठे हुए थे अपने महल में, और बहुत सारे उनके मंत्री, बहुत सारे लोग थे, वहां जाकर उसने कहा कि मैं ज्वेलर हूं और मैंने सुना है आप बहुत होशियार है, हर प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन बता देते हैं आप और आपके मंत्री। मेरे पास ये 2 स्टोन्स हैं, मेरे पास ये 2 डायमंड जैसे पत्थर है, इनमें से एक रियल है और एक मिरर जैसा है। एक बिल्कुल मिरर जैसा है और एक रियल है। तो आपको ये बताना है देख कर, चेक कर कर, कैसे भी, ये कौन सा रियल है और कौन सा आर्टिफिशियल है। और वो जो रियल वाला है उसकी वैल्यू इतनी ज्यादा है कि आपके पास जितना भी खजाना है, ट्रेजर है, उसके बराबर उस अकेले की वैल्यू। तो आपने सही बताया, तो ये मैं आपको दे दूंगा रियल वाला, तो आपका तो टेक्निकली ट्रेजर डबल हो गया। और अगर आप हार गए तो आप मुझे अपना सारा ट्रेजर दे देंगे। तो राजा को अपने ऊपर भरोसा था कि मैं पता कर लूंगा। एंड उसने वो दोनों डायमंड अपने हाथ में लिए और बहुत कोशिश करी चेक करके पता लगाने की कौन सा रियल है कौन सा अनरियल। बट नहीं बता पाया, बिल्कुल सिमिलर लग रहे थे दोनों देखने में, एग्जैक्टली सेम। उसने अपने मंत्रियों को भी दिया, सारे मंत्रियों ने चेक किया, मिनिस्टर्स ने, उसके उसके जो खुद के ज्वेलर्स थे उसने चेक किया। बट कोई भी दोनों में डिफरेंस नहीं बता पाया। तो राजा को बड़ा इंसल्ट फील हुआ, और वो ज्वेलर जो था वो बहुत खुश हो रहा था कि आज तो इसका सारा ट्रेजर मुझे मिल जाएगा। उतने में ही जो एक राजा था, जो राजा था उसके जो गुरुजी थे वो वहां पर थे। एंड वो ब्लाइंड थे, वो देख नहीं सकते थे, तो वो ये सब सुन रहे थे। तो उन्होंने कहा उस ज्वेलर से कि क्या आप मुझे वो दोनों पत्थर दे सकते हैं, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ पता लगाने की कौन सा रियल है कौन सा आर्टिफिशियल है। तो सब लोग हंसने लगे, ये तो ब्लाइंड है, ये कैसे आइडेंटिफाई कर लेंगे जब हम लोग नहीं पता कर पा रहे। बट राजा को भरोसा था कि मेरे जो गुरुजी हैं वो बहुत होशियार हैं, ऐसा तो कुछ ना कुछ होगा। तो उन्होंने वो दिए, और गुरुजी 2 मिनट के लिए महल से बाहर गए, लौट कर वापस आए, और उन्होंने बताया उस ज्वेलर को कि ये वाला रियल है और ये वाला अनरियल है। ज्वेलर वॉज शॉक्ड, बिल्कुल सही आइडेंटिफाई किया। सब सोच में पड़ गए कि जब हम सब नहीं बता पाए इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की हेल्प से भी, इतने होशियार लोग, तो गुरु ने कैसे बताया। तो सबने पूछा उनसे कि बात तो ठीक है, आपने सही आइडेंटिफाई किया, बट कैसे पता लगा। उन्होंने कहा मैं बाहर गया और मैंने दोनों पत्थर को, दोनों स्टोन्स को अपने हाथ में लिया और सनशाइन में गया। तो सनशाइन में जो आर्टिफिशियल वाला है, जो कांच का है, जो ग्लास का है, वो गर्म हो गया। जो रियल डायमंड है वो उतना हीटेड नहीं होता, क्योंकि वो रियल डायमंड होता है। तो जो कम गर्म था मैं समझ गया कि ये रियल है। इन द सेम वे हम सब स्टूडेंट एक जैसे लगते हैं जब हम एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में जाते हैं। बट एग्जामिनेशन हॉल विल टेस्ट यू, योर एग्जामिनेशन हॉल उससे 1 महीने पहले का टाइम, दैट इज गोइंग टू टेस्ट यू। तो आप में से जिसकी प्रिपरेशन अच्छी होगी, रिवीजन कर रखा होगा, प्रिपरेशन अच्छी तरह की होगी, वो स्टूडेंट्स कम पैनिक होंगे, कम नर्वस होंगे। दे विल बी लाइक अ रियल डायमंड। दे विल बी पैनिक, देयर वुड बी नर्वसनेस बट नॉट दैट मच। और जो ढंग से प्रिपेयर करके नहीं आए होंगे एग्जाम के लिए, सिलेक्टेड स्टडी कर कर आए होंगे, वो पैनिक हो जाएंगे उस ग्लास की तरह। तो एग्जाम विल आइडेंटिफाई, एग्जाम इज लाइक अ गुरु, दे विल आइडेंटिफाई कौन से वो स्टूडेंट्स हैं दोज डिजर्व टू बी अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, और कौन से ऐसे हैं जो नहीं बन सकते। देखने में सब सेम लगेंगे, बट इफ यू विल प्रिपेयर वेल, if you'll practice well, if you'll revise well, in examination you will become that kind of diamond which would be real, the diamond that is going to be called in future chartered accountant. And those who will not be prepared like that, जो उस प्रेशर को हैंडल नहीं कर पाएंगे ड्यू टू not prepared properly, not proper revision, of course they will be treated as a glass or like a mirror only. So please, that kind of diamond, which could be classified as chartered accountant, when there would be examination, when there would be pressure upon you. So a good preparation will able to handle any kind of pressure. All the best for all of you. Please पढ़ाई करते रहिए, revision करते रहिए, and we will see each other on coming Tuesday. If there's any query, I guess there is no query from your part. Ketan is saying, I pray to God for good health and speed recovery. Thank you so much, Ketan. Thank you. How to manage CA Group 1 and BCom? Manage your Group CA1, BCom will be automatically managed. There's nothing which is outside the purview of CA. Yes, it's an inspiring story. And let me tell you, Minu, it's not a story. These are realities of life. You will find it out if you think deeply about these stories. You will find it out these are not stories. These are the reality. We just don't recognize them like the way it is. Chaliye. So I guess there is no more query. So, sir, can we close the session, Ashok sir? Ashok sir, can we close the session?
Sir, you can switch off your audio video. You can leave.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.